Hello, this is Julie. Welcome into the Thrifty Paper Garden. If you hear some humming in the background, that is my husband busily working in his wood shop, making Christmas gifts, as busy as a little elf. But I wanted to come today to show you my paper garden. Actually, I've been asked a few times to do a tutorial on the flowers that I make. And of course, I haven't done it for a while because there are so many videos, wonderful videos out there about making flowers. But I figured since I had gotten a few comments about it, and I just wanted to share and encourage others to try this. And my flowers are very simple, but I have found you just play around with the different type of materials and fabrics and different combination of petals, you can make some very pretty things. And I do it fairly easily, and I use mainly Sizzix die cuts. So I will bring you over here, and one of the main dies that I use is the Tattered Florals die, and you can see it has been a very busy die, and right now I've been making Christmas colored flowers. But for today I cut out one piece and I've made it white so it will contrast against the color of the petals of the flower, so you'll be able to see what I'm doing. I just take one of these pieces, and it can, for a flower, the underpiece can be a piece of green fabric if you want it to resemble leaves, but oftentimes I just make it the same color as the petals. And then I've cut out 8 just of this sheer fabric, and for the first piece I just take it, fold it in half, and make sure that the petals are kind of interspersed, and then fold it in half again. And then I take the base piece and roughly put it in quarters. And for fabric, I do use needle and thread. It seems like hot glue or some of the other adhesives don't look as nice, and it's just a couple stitches, so those of you that are averse to needle and thread, it really isn't that bad. So I just make one tiny little stitch, just one little tiny stitch like that to attach it, and then I just do that again. And you can do this 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layer. I usually do 2 layers. It makes for a very full flower. And again, just one little stitch. Now when I do make these out of paper, glue oftentimes will do the work, will do the job, I mean. Okay, so there you see there's 2 of them. And I can do that again, just fold in half with the petals offset, fold it in half again. It just makes a little triangle type shape. Line it up, bring a little stitch through, and of course I would use a thread that's similar to the same color as the petal, but I just wanted to do white so you could hopefully see it. And for this flower, that really is all there is to it. And I just love to cut up a bunch of these and just make them while we're having family conversation, or I'm watching a TV program or the news, watching YouTube. It's just for me, it's very relaxing. Long car trips, it takes very little effort, and it just produces. So there's one layer, and then you can proceed to the next layer, and I will show you some examples. Now here's one that I have done 2 layers out of just fabric, just a lightweight cotton fabric. And then you can take another petal piece and just kind of fold it up, scrunch it up, and then you can put a little stitch right in the center, and that will pop up. And it's just a matter of fluffing it up, and maybe I even sometimes take the petals and maybe cut it in half and just add half of a flower to a little area that may seem to need a little bit more fullness. But it just takes a little time and practice. Here I've taken one that has some lightweight, almost like tissue paper, and then some lace. And again, that makes for a very dimensional flower. Or I take and put 2 layers and have it lay flat, and then I made this center with a flat back pearl and little pearls around, so you just glue those on. And of course you can use buttons and various other little jewels and bling and whatnot to make your flower centers however you want it to turn out. Here's a very simple one. I've just cut out the smaller flower out of the die cut. Just real simple, but just really elegant. Adds a lot to a project. Here's another one out of kind of that crumpled tissue paper, and I like it's like a paper ribbon, and I like the texture to it. And of course I just took some little pearls and glued them together. And then here's some of the fabric ones, and you have to put kind of a firm backing. I'm trying to find the back of it here. A firm backing on it. Here we go. So I make most of my fabric bows I'm making, or fabric flowers I'm making for hair bows, but they go wonderful on mixed media and picture frames when you want a little fullness. Here's another one, just real full. I've made quite a few for my daughter's hair. Here's another one that's made all out of lace for a hair bow, and then I just sew the back on there. And here's one made out of fabric or glittery ribbon, and then I just put some bling in the center. I'm making a lot of these for Christmas gifts and put on gift wrapping. Here are some smaller ones. Of course it just looks like a little ball, but you put a little back on it. Here's another one. Just real pretty. Like I said, you just have to experiment and see what works. I've used quite a bit of material that didn't really work real well. Felt doesn't, a thicker felt anyway, doesn't seem to work real well for these flowers. And then another thing you can do with the smaller or the larger paper flower is cut several layers and then put a brad through the back of it, bend it so that it's tucked deep in the middle, and then you just start fluffing up each layer. And I think that makes for a real pretty flower. And you can put a flower center in it if you want to. And then another flower that I like to make is out of the Flower 3D. You can kind of see that. And those cut out like this. And so it's just a matter of rolling. And I have done enough of these that I could probably do these in my sleep. And you just roll and roll and roll and roll and roll. And I use a good tacky floral glue, or Aleene's tacky quick dry glue. And when you get done rolling, there's the little base here. You put glue and you glue that and you end up with little flowers like these. And I again like to make little hair barrettes out of those. And then I do combinations. Here's a paper ribbon I cut up, made the larger flower, and then put the rolled flower in the center. And here's another one. Or you could even place this on top of this and make a real dimensional flower. Again, the combinations are endless. Plus, I've taken two of these, layered one on top of the other, and rolled it up, and it makes for a little larger rose. And the final flower that I tend to use quite a bit of is the flower daisies. And I like these particularly this time of year because I think that looks like a poinsettia. And this is a McGill, I think it's called a Starburst stamp, or punch, excuse me. And McGill has a whole line of flower punches. And then I have a leaf punch for this. But you can, another way to use that is I've made the regular flower like this out of fabric, and then I've taken the daisy pieces and added those to the center, so it gives it a little bit of a different center. Here's another one I've just made out of, it's like packing tissue paper that like Amazon sends. It's a real nice craft color. And again, I just used the larger flowers as the base and the daisy cut out flower for the middle. And of course, it doesn't have to be a poinsettia. Make it white to look like a daisy and put a yellow center. Or I've used the crimped paper ribbon. It's kind of hard to see on the video, but crimpled it up, the daisy, and then put a rolled ribbon flower in the center. And then I've taken fabric and some tulle right there and intermixed those two fabrics and just glued them together and put a bling center. And then a real flimsy type material, but I think that makes for a pretty flower. Use the daisy die and then two rolled rolled roses flower together to make a larger rose for the center. And I thought this was a cute example of a Christmas gift bag. And the fabric has a little bit of a sparkle to it. And then this is from the pine cone Sizzix die. And some of the fabrics I use again are the velvet teen ribbon. I've used a lot of this. That was from Michael's, and this is, I believe, 2.5 inches wide, and that's wide enough for the smaller flower. And I use quite a bit of this crepe paper. And of course, tulle and lace and fabric. Really, the projects, fabrics, materials are endless. But that is just a quick tutorial. I hope you were able to grasp some of what I was trying to get across, but it really is very easy, and I think it makes for some very nice flowers, very impressive. And I also like to take a lot of my the rolled roses, and for smaller gift bags you can put a bunch of these on the gift bag as well and make for a real pretty hand decorated gift bag. So I hope that helps those that have requested. I don't do many tutorials, but I enjoy taking the time Anything that I can do, I would like others to do, be able to do as well. So thanks for stopping by. Bye.